Friends, this is Jason Unleashed. Hi, how you doing? Jason Carter here. Glad to see you. Good to be here with you. Thank you so much for watching. Season 4 rolls on. Incredible guest. And today, my guest is someone who, for many of us musically, has been a part of our musical tapestry for more than 30 years. She is a legend. She is formerly 1/4 of the R&B female supergroup En Vogue and 1/3 of the soul funk group Lucy Pearl. I am talking about Dawn Robinson. Yeah, she's going to be here in the chat in a bit. This is going to be a great conversation. For years, we wondered what happened. Why did En Vogue change? Where did people go? Why did the sound change? Who's in the group still? We're going to get the story from the horse's mouth. Excited to chat with her. She's going to step into the room in a bit. If you guys have any questions, we're going to save the last part of the interview, the last 5 minutes of the interview, for questions. So keep them in the questions box below, the little happy faces. And again, I'm glad you guys are here with me. It's going to be a great conversation. And like I said, we're going to get the tea, that's so dramatic. We're going to get Dawn's take and Dawn's reality and Dawn's journey from herself. So I'm just waiting for her to come into the room. Let's see if she's here. She's not here yet. Hi, everyone. I see you guys. Hey, Brandon. Hi, Kai. Hey, Justin. Hillary. Hey, Hillary. Midwest's finest. I'm just waiting for Dawn to send the request. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope your 2021 has gotten off to a somewhat good start, considering, I don't want to get political, but considering the bullshit that's happening. It's bullshit, and I could say that. It's my fucking show. But yeah, a lot's been going on. And let's see. Yeah, I love me some En Vogue too. Where is Dawn? Dawn, look, I'm over here on East Coast time. She's in LA. Let's see. Hi, Hillary, you're sweet, love. Hey, Zach. I'm just going to say, hey, Justin hanging in there. Justin, me and you were going to connect. Let's bring Dawn in. She just stepped into the chat. Let's go there with Dawn Robinson, legendary vocalist. You can't have R&B and soul without Dawn Robinson. And here she is. Dawn, welcome to Jason Unleashed.
Jason, how are you?
I am great. Good to have you here. Happiest of New Year's, love.
Great to be here. Thank you so much. I'm actually in Las Vegas. I live in Las Vegas.
Oh, well, it's still the West. It's still the West Coast.
It's still the West Coast.
Yeah, it's the West Coast. Good to have you here. Well, I have to say, one, praise God for allowing me this technology for us to get together and chat, because Dawn,
yes,
you have. I always talk about people being a part of a musical tapestry, right? It's
I'm
a story that
together. I'm trying to get it together, Jason.
Listen, yesterday I was in a live, and all of a sudden the phone cut out. We're good. We're good. Take your time.
Oh my God. Wait. But I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just saying that as we go through life, people become a part of our musical story. And and you have been a part of my musical story since the spring of 1990, when I was in summer recreation, and on the radio was this song that had the best bass line and the most incredible vocals. We're like, what's going on? And here we have En Vogue. We're gonna talk about all of it, but first things first. 2020 was some bullshit. How are you doing?
It was actually bad bullshit and good bullshit. It made us slow the fuck down. It really did, Jason.
It did.
I think that COVID was a wake-up call, first of all, for how I'm kind of a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but I actually can see what's going on, and I'm very clear about it. That they directed us like sheep to what to be afraid of. And I hate that shit. I hate fear. So I'm like, okay, if COVID is so, and I'm not saying that COVID is not real. I'm just saying that when people get sick and they die from COVID, it's most of them their immune systems are already taxed. They're not doing the things to protect themselves from COVID in the first place. So your immune system is just shot, and you get this virus just like a flu. And if you get the flu bad enough, then you're going to die from even the flu. So a lot of times I'm just like, you guys, there's so many things that we could have done to take care of ourselves that they never said, like elderberry, garlic, stuff that's natural that your grandmother would tell you to go take when you were a kid. And now we're not doing any of that. It's about a vaccine. Got to get that vaccine. Got to, and only black people should take it first. That kind of stuff. I'm like, okay.
Well, you're vegan, right?
I'm trying to be. I'm not as much of a vegan as I should be, but I keep telling people, just think for yourself. You know, if you can go in the restaurant and sit down and you have to have a mask on when you walk in, but then when your food comes, you can take the mask off. Like, where does COVID go? At that point, you got to think about it.
Good point. I was just saying that last week. Good point. I feel you on that. Well, I'm glad that you have survived COVID, and shout out to everyone who's hanging in there. And we feel for people who have lost loved ones in COVID, because it's just impacted life in so many different ways. But enough about the unhappy stuff. I want to talk to you about your legacy, your journey, and who you are, because there's a list of R&B vocalists, female R&B vocalists, right? And
Yes.
on that list always is a Dawn Robinson, and
Yeah.
I feel like you are the most. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I think of En Vogue,
Uh-huh.
and the vocals of En Vogue, it's always you. I'm sorry, it's always you.
Wow, that means a lot. It really does. I'm so grateful.
It's the truth. Going back to 1989, here you are at an audition. Tell us about how Dawn Robinson from the West Coast, from Connecticut,
Yes.
finds her way into what would be one of the most successful girl groups of all time.
Oh my God. So I was at a Summer Jam concert, an all-day concert.
Summer Jam!
Yes, Summer Jam. We would go every single year. My mom would get me tickets. Her mom would get her tickets. And this particular year, we had jobs. We were 2 years out of high school, 3 years out of high school. So we had jobs of our own, and we could buy the better tickets, So we got 10 seats from the front of the stage, 10 rows from the front of the stage. We had the better seats. So we got up from our seats to go check out guys. We were saying that we were going to the bathroom because we were with our two friends. We weren't dating them, but we were like, we didn't want to tell them our business. So let's go to the bathroom, which was technically let's go check out guys. And yeah, because it's so big, 25,000, 22 to 25,000 people. There's got to be some cute guys here somewhere.
Yeah.
So we got up from our section, and it was the VIP area. And when we got up to the top of the stairs in our section, there was this guy who just randomly yelled out, "Excuse me." And we both turned around, and he said, "Are you a model?" And I was like, first of all, I blew him off. I didn't say anything to him. I just kind of like, whatever. And we went to actually try to go to the restroom. The line was too long. We went and got popcorn, a drink. And by then it was like the next artist was coming on stage. And I want to say it was the Cover Girls. Stevie B, Cover Girls were hot at that time. Yeah.
Yes.
And so we came back from the restroom and he was still standing there. Same guy, 25,000 people walking around. It was crazy with people. He said, "Excuse me." I looked at him again. Now we were facing him because we were coming back to our seat. So I was like, I'm not a model. And he said, "Well, are you a singer? Can you sing at all?" And I was like, yes, yeah, I can sing. So we stood there and talked for about an hour. And he was like, "My friends are doing an audition for this girl group, and you have a good look. I just want to know if you can actually sing." So he came to my parents' house like 2 days later to see if I actually had talent. Because it's nothing like actually introducing me to someone and saying, "Hey, I'm the guy who brought her in, but she can't actually sing. So you want to know, do you have talent?" And yeah, I sang "Rapture" by Anita Baker, and I sang "Been So Long." Yes.
You go hard for Anita.
Yes, I do. I told her last year on Twitter, on Instagram or Twitter, I said, "You have no," because she was talking about retiring, and I said, "Anita, please, you have no idea. Like, you are my life. And the reason that I sing, you're one of the reasons that I sing. Shaka Khan, Stephanie Mills, Tina Marie, the Carpenters, Crosby, Stills, and Nash. But as far as female vocalists, you are the reason that I got into En Vogue, so you can't stop. We love you. Sometimes,
love Anita, yes.
Well, sometimes when you're not out in the public eye anymore and you're not releasing new music, people think you're gone, and so they forget about you. And I told her, "You are not forgotten. You are so loved and so beloved, and you have no idea what." I told her about my audition. She said, "I can hear those registers in your voice, that you have that same timbre in your voice." I was like, Anita Baker said that about me, but I was just so moved,
Yeah.
So a week after that, the audition was happening, and I got there, and Cindy was there first. And I walked in intimidated. I was just like, from the jump, I was like, as soon as we pulled up, I told my sister, just let's turn around. Don't even, I'm not going in there. Like, I'm not meant for this. Like, I don't do auditions. This is my first one ever. I want to go home. And she was like, no, no, and no. My sister was
Right.
pregnant. And thank God, because I had asked my mom had asked me, do you want me to take you to the audition? Like a day after I got the audition, she was like, that I heard I was going. And she said, well, you want me to take you? And I said, no, I think I want Data to take me. And it wasn't for any particular reason. I just thought having my mom at an audition is going to be a little bit embarrassing. So I said, no, that's okay, Mom. I'm going to have Dana take me, my sister. And luckily, in hindsight, it's so crazy because from the beginning, I was telling her, take me home. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And my sister was like, no, she wasn't having it. So we got inside. I met Cindy first. I met the producers first, and then Cindy. Actually, the engineer, so Steve, was outside smoking to say, hey, are you here for the audition? You can go right inside. I was like, yes. He said, my name is Steve. I was like, hi, Steve. I want to go home. And we're walking down the hallway, and I remember all the plaques on the walls. It was a very narrow hallway, so you could actually do like this, and you could touch it.
It's always a narrow hallway. It's
exactly.
always a narrow hallway.
Right.
Always.
And we got inside, and Denny walked out right away, and he was like, hey, how's it going? What's your name? I said, Dawn. He said, oh, we heard that you were coming. JR was the one that brought me to the audition. I said, yeah, but I don't know him. But thank God he was at the Summer Jam the other day. And he's like, yeah, so come on in. I'm going to introduce you. And then Tommy was right there. And I was like, oh, my God. Hi, how are you? I'm Dawn. And then they walked me into this big room where there's a gigantic piano. And Cindy was standing around and kind of in there. And they introduced me to Cindy. And I was like, immediately, oh, my God, she's so pretty. I don't want to be here. She's so pretty. And then she started talking to me about her life. Jason, I was like, okay, I want to go home. And my sister kept saying, Dawn, no, you're not going home. But Cindy was like, I was a child star. I was on a show called Up and Coming. Mm-hmm. I was, played Billie Holiday with my sister in San Francisco. And then we went abroad in Japan. We played that in a play overseas. So she's already traveled the world. You know, she was a TV star. She's like, yeah, and I was Miss Oakland. I won Miss Oakland. And I was in the pageant, Miss California pageant, and I didn't win that one, but I was Miss Oakland. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm already done. Like, I want to go home. My sister kept whispering to me, stop it. Stop. You're not going home. No, you're fine. You're good. I just felt like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
I just felt like, this is not where I need to be. And then about maybe an hour later, Maxine walks in. Okay, again, she's got on this little tiny skirt and this big, huge weave, and she was friendly and fun, and I was like, I don't need to be here. This is not my energy. Like, they're so accomplished. Maxine was like, well, I've done lots of plays in San Francisco. I know Cindy from somewhere. Like, she's known around the Bay Area. So, again, hearing Maxine's side of it, I didn't grow up in the Bay, and Maxine didn't either, but she knew of Cindy. She knew her. And I was like, oh, my God, let me just leave. Why am I here? And then Maxine was like, I know you from somewhere. And I said, I know. You look familiar, too. I can't remember where. So she started saying all these places. And then we realized that she had been braiding hair at a hair salon. And I went in to get my hair done. And the owner of the hair salon was like, okay, she said that she can sing. And Maxine, come over here. And Maxine, I remember her turning around and looking at me. And she's like, hi. And I said, hi. She said, oh, so you sing, too? And so he's like, yeah. Y'all sing something together. Jeffrey, his name is Jeffrey. Y'all sing something together. And we were like, oh, my God. So we still to this day can't figure out what it was that we sang. But I think it was If You Play, Don't Let It Go to Your Head by Jean Carn. And she said it was If You Play Your Cards Right. And we can't, Gwen Guthrie or one of those women. But we sang then, and then we were like, oh, my God. So she started asking me. She said, I have an audition coming up. A show. And I would love for you to sing background with me. And I was like, I'd love to, but I don't have any clothes. Like, I don't have a wardrobe of clothes for stage. She said, okay, well, I have some stuff, and you can look at my clothes and pick something out. And so anyway, there's another girl that Maxine was at the time was her roommate named Jordana. And Jordana, that morning, she was getting ready for the audition, and Maxine was like, "Where are you going?" And she was getting dressed and everything, and Maxine was like, "Where are you going?" And she said, "Oh, I have an audition today." But she didn't tell Maxine, "Come with me."
Ah,
Now, knowing that Maxine was a singer too, it's like you would
shade,
think, right,
shade.
absolutely. She, this is my roommate. Come with me to the audition. Hello. And someone else called Maxine. His name is Ken, and I think he told Maxine, "There's an audition today. You got to go. You got to be there." So he picked Maxine up and brought her. And then 20 minutes after Maxine got to the audition, here comes Jordana. And lo and behold, Jordana didn't make the group, but Maxine did. Isn't that crazy? You're my roommate. You didn't tell me about the audition, but God
But I
wanted
make
me
the
to be
group.
here. Exactly. God wanted me to be here anyway, so I made the group and you did not. And not only that, Jason, during the audition, maybe about 2 hours in or 3 hours in, we were all hungry.
Mm-hmm.
But Jordana voiced it. "Y'all don't have no beer? Like, what's up? Y'all don't got no food?"
Oh.
Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. She was that. She was that
Very that.
girl. And I was like, "Okay, you're not making the group at all. Like, you are so ghetto, like so hood. And, even if you're hungry, you go out and buy your own food. Come back. You don't assume that the people that are doing the audition are going to feed you too."
Well, yeah,
So,
it's not like it's an actual like working set where you're like book the job, you're here,
thank
there's
you.
a union. It's like you're here trying to get a job.
You're just trying to get in. Exactly. This is not craft services where you have it on the set and you have food already. You know what I mean? So I was just like, okay.
So you meet all these women, you're there, you get in the group, life changing, and then
Terry wasn't there yet. Terry didn't get there until later that night. But yeah, when she got there, it was just, our harmonies were so, it was almost
cohesive.
like a family. Yeah, very good word, cohesive.
Oh, and I mean, Don, it clearly God had his hand in that, because
He sure did.
we speak about the cohesive nature of the voices of the women of En Vogue, and there hasn't been. I mean, there's such a unique energy that came from your sound, and we're gonna touch on that. But here you are. You make the group in 1990. We get your debut album, Born to Sing, and I would say En Vogue, you had the girl groups of yesteryear, but En Vogue also furthered the blueprint for the girl groups that were coming after, with sound and sexuality and Black excellence. What was it like finally being in the group and recording that first album, and the deal? Because according to reports and what you've told the fans, that 2 Cents was all you guys were making as a group, and people have this misconception that, oh my God, millions of albums sold, 7 Grammy nominations, multiple MTV Video Music Awards, they're rich. But much like 90s girl groups like TLC, the coin wasn't flowing.
It was not. We did not get our bag, okay, as they say. The girl group phenomena has always been that all the girls look alike. As far as their outfits, they match. Everybody's matching, like we're twins or something. Like our parents would dress us alike as little kids. And after a while, it was like, you guys, we have individual minds. Let's start dressing a little bit different. So we may all wear red, but let's, like, for giving them something to feel, let's create our dresses differently. Let's do something off the shoulder. Or Terry, you do a sweetheart neckline. Or Cindy loved, she has wide shoulders, so she loved to do the halter top. The halter where it cuts in here, so it makes her shoulders look a little more narrow. So we started becoming individualized, and then I started looking around like, wait a minute, our producers have mansions, or a mansion. Denny had a mansion. Tommy, I don't know where he lived. He was much more private than Denny. We were always around Denny. Denny was much more hands-on with us. And then I saw that our choreographer had a mansion as well, and I was like, wait a minute. It's not to say that they didn't deserve a mansion, but where the fuck are ours? Where the hell is Terry's mansion? Where is Maxine's mansion? Where's my mansion? Where's Cindy's? Now, Cindy had kind of a mansion because her husband was playing for Cincinnati Reds, so she was a little bit more financially taken care of. But I'm like, okay, this 2 pennies a record thing is for the birds. Like, and I remember we came home from London for the first time. Or I should say had gone to London for the first time. When we came back, we went straight to BET, straight to DC. We were in DC, and we were on the backstages, and I was like, wait a minute. After seeing the perception that the world had of us in London and our fan base over there. And here we are in the States, and we're huge as well. We're huge globally.
Mm-hmm.
I started my third eye, as they say, started to open up like, wait a minute. Okay, so what's going on here? Why are we not making money? And so I remember asking our manager, I just asked him I had to talk to him privately. I didn't want the other girls to hear because they didn't understand either. And I guess I was bringing it up so much to them that they were tired of hearing me ask about it. So I just had to ask him by myself, what is up? Where's the money? Like what? And he said verbatim, oh, and I remember looking up at him like, what's going on? Because he's taller, of course, taller than me. I'm 5'3", and he's probably about 6 foot even, 6'1". I said, David, so where's the money? Like, what is going on? And he said, oh, he looked down at me. He said, well, that's a pie in the sky. You have to, that takes a lot of time, and that's a pie in the sky. And I said, but we're selling millions of records. He said, well, yeah, you got to sell millions more like that. You got to sell millions. And I'm like, we are multi-platinum at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We have sold millions of records on the first album. And now here we are about to start on the second album, Funky Divas. We didn't know the name of the album yet, but we're about to start recording our second album. And you're telling me that it's a pie in the sky? Like, we've already sold, 3 to 5 million on the first album, or almost 8 million. Or something crazy, and you're telling me it's a pie in the sky. I'm watching everybody else make money, so no, there's no pie in the sky. We're making money.
100%. That infuriates me because you hear it. I mean, the story is all the same across the board, just with different chapters of people in the business back from the 90s, especially in Black people, Black women, have been almost destitute. Because the business the business wasn't good to them, and there wasn't the people set in place for them to foster and to guide them as well. But so millions of albums sold. 92, we get Funky Divas, and I feel like that's when En Vogue was like, "We're here, people. Like what you need, what you need." This is an incredible album. It really highlighted your sound.
Thank you.
By then you guys have gelled. What was the culture within the group amongst the four of you? Because now you're super famous, you're hyper famous.
Yes,
and
globally,
and everyone's personality is clear as day. And people in the comments can agree or disagree. I felt that you popped you were the fiery one. You were the trendsetter, the fashionista, just everything. What was the culture?
Goodness.
What was the
Thank
culture
you
like
so
between?
Much, Jason.
Of course.
Wow. The culture was, from the beginning, our producer Denny would try to dummy us down. He would really, and we were beholden to him because, first of all, you're giving us a chance to come. I wouldn't say out of the ghetto, because we weren't living in squalor. We weren't living like, you know what I mean? We weren't destitute, but we weren't famous yet, so we didn't know how things went. So the person that we're going to give the most homage to and give the most, oh boy, how do you put it, listen to the most, respect the most, you know what I mean, was our producer. And I thought, I'm so green. As I'm writing my book now, I'm literally writing my life story, and I'm looking at the way that I thought back then. And it was really, oh my God, Denny and Tommy love us. They're not going to hurt us in any way. They're not going to, if they say that we should have their manager, they didn't force us to have their manager as our manager, but they just suggested, hey, this guy right here, and patting him on the chest, this is our manager. And he's one day, maybe he can be your manager.
Right.
The process of what do you call it? Suggestive thought, of suggestive thinking. Like, hey, maybe this guy can be your manager too. But when you have
hey, this guy's dope.
We trust
Let's
him.
stick with him. Right.
We trust him. So you guys can trust him too. He's a good guy. But really what happened with that is kind of suggestive thinking, and we couldn't think of anyone else. We didn't know any other manager. Yeah. We weren't out there like looking for managers. So if Denny and Tommy said this guy's a good guy, we trust him too. Because Denny and Tommy love us. That's how I thought. My thinking process was, these guys care about us. They sign us as a group. They're going to make sure that we're going to be successful. They're not going to do any harm to us. So if this guy is good to them, he's going to be good for us as well. But it was a conflict of interest. And they told us that. They told us up front, but we didn't know what the hell. I know that I didn't know what conflict of interest meant. I never heard the term in my life. So I'm just thinking, okay, fine, we'll have David as a manager. You know what I mean? In hindsight, I think that it was a problem because when it comes to renegotiating a contract, our manager couldn't step in for us and he couldn't step in for Denny and Tommy either. So you got two sides of the coin and you got the manager in the middle.
Right.
So if you're looking at Denny and Tommy, you're looking at our manager and you're looking at us. There's no one in the middle that he had to step out. So here we are. And we had to find somebody else to be our manager in the meantime. And I was like, you guys, if we have to have someone step in for the renegotiation, and then he wants us to rehire him after the renegotiation is over, that doesn't make any sense. Why go back to that manager who couldn't make sure that we were okay in the end? It just doesn't make sense. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly.
No, you are. And so when you have managers like that, again, but people have it said perfectly, manipulation. There's a manipulation that was going on. How did that infiltrate the group? How did that affect you ladies within the group?
It influenced us highly because here we are again. We're trusting that
It's okay.
I'm trying to get more light, but we're trusting that our manager is the one that's going to have our backs and that these producers are going to have our backs as well. So and also you got to remember too, and I think I've said this so many times, it's ridiculous, but there's a lot of people that still don't know that Terry was dating our producer. Now, we thought it was the most adorable thing in the world. Right. He's hot on Terry. She's hot on him. They are so adorable. They are, they're an item. And we just thought it was cute. What I didn't like in the end is that Terry did not stand for herself. Put her relationship aside and stand for her group. Stand for herself. Right. Because when you're standing for the group, you're standing for yourself. It's not just about what's right for Terry, but it's like, okay, I got to make sure that you can't allow your personal relationship with the producer or your manager, if you're dating the manager or a record company executive, you have to make sure that you put all of that aside, your relationship with that person aside, and you stand for what's right with your group. And in this case, she didn't do that. So that's where I lost respect for her because I was like, okay, Denny is making sure that he takes care of what Denny and Tommy were a team. Cindy, Maxine, Terry, and Dawn are a team, but we're not a team with them. We are signed to them, and we're signed to the major label through them. So again, here we have Denny and Tommy, which is Too Tough Enough Productions, and we have En Vogue in the middle. I'm sorry, the label in the middle. So that was Atlantic Records in the middle, and then we got En Vogue. So we, En Vogue, are signed to the record company in the middle through Denny and Tommy. Right. I did that backwards, but Denny and Tommy were the middleman to the major label. And Terry, instead of saying, you know what, I have to make sure that my relationship does not take precedence over what I have to do with the group. The group comes first because that means that's my bottom line. If me and Denny broke up tomorrow and that's not my man and he's not my man anymore, my group still is viable. I have to make sure that my group is taken care of because that's my bread and butter.
That's the business of
business.
Thank
you, Jason.
That's you listen, everyone in the comments is saying exactly what we're thinking. That's the business. And also, it speaks to a lack of a sisterly loyalty as well. Because here you are, sisters in music, right? Yes. And you have it's not easy. The emotional contribution, the physical contribution, the sacrifice you four women made to be in this group, that in itself is a gift and something that should have been cherished. And just going off of what you're telling me, Terry, the loyalty exited stage left when she decided to be in a relationship with the producer. What was that one moment though, Dawn? Because for years, we have social media now, and people can now, as we're doing now, can finally tell their story. And I feel like for the last 20 years, you have been trying to tell people, yo, this is what went on. What was the moment back then after Funky Divas? We got Runaway Love, the EP. Yes. Then all of a sudden, Dawn's gone. What was the definitive moment where you thought, okay, En Vogue, deuces, I'm out?
It wasn't like that. I didn't want to be out of the group. I was trying to get the girls to wake up because We were the reason that all of this was happening in the first place. Sylvia Rhone was a known, well, she became more known because of En Vogue. I'm trying to get this together, y'all. I'm so sorry. So she became a household word. She was Sylvia Rhone. I mean, she's powerful, and she was powerful before us. But now, because of En Vogue, she's a household word. You feel me? Or she's a household name, I should say. And Denny and Tommy, same way. They were always in Club Nouveau and Timex Social Club. But now, because of En Vogue, and they even had Tony, but nobody knew who they were until we were signed to them. So my defining factor was they did so for Born to Sing, we had 2 pennies a record. That's fine. We were just starting out. We were grateful, okay? But when you have success, you're supposed to go in, take that old contract, completely tear it up, throw it out, and renegotiate for better terms, right?
Right. Yes.
We didn't do that. So here we are on the second album, Funky Divas. Now, Funky Divas is bigger than Born to Sing. More albums sold, more money made. Where's the money? We're not, did anybody have, there's no money being made. So it was like, that's when I started waking up and saying, wait a minute, there's something wrong with this picture. Something is happening here. And I didn't know the term renegotiate. I didn't understand that you're supposed to tear up your contract and go back in and do anything. I know now, but I didn't know at that time. And so Maxine and I would have these powwows, these conversations, and get on the phone with each other. I'm like, Maxine, I'm looking at Denny's, we saw his mansion. We went to his mansion like, wow, he's got it made because of us. We don't have the same kind of money that he has. So where's the money? And she's like, I know, Dawn, we got to do something. So she called Denny and said, Denny, don't we have to, like, I don't know, renegotiate, do something with our contract? And he said, no, don't. In other words, he had the same amount of points and percentages as 2 people, him and Denzel, Tommy McElroy. So the 2 of them were sharing the same amount of points and percentages that the 4 of us were splitting 4 ways. They were splitting only 2 ways. Yeah. So for him, it was working. For them, they were making good money. For them, it was all good. For us, it was not. And we had those 2 pennies a record, man. I think they were making a lot more than 2 pennies a record. I know they were, because there's no way that he could have gotten a mansion without it. You can't get that with 2 pennies a record. Yeah.
And when you're working that hard and you're passionate about music, but you need to eat, you need to live, you got to pay your rent. You were living in like a $700 apartment in Oakland. Trying to. It was cute. Yeah, but I mean, but you're Don Robinson of one of the biggest girl group of that time. Like, that's unheard of. So the money drove you to say, you had these conversations. You said something's not right. Of course, the men want to tell the woman, no, we'll take care of you. Everything's fine. But you realized you trusted your gut, and then what?
So Maxine and I were the ones who kind of like, okay, we're going to get Cindy into. Now Maxine would have a problem with anything that we talked about. She would get afraid. She would become fearful. And like after we would talk, she would call Denny right away. And I'm like, Maxine, are you kidding? Yeah, I called Denny because I don't know. It just feels like I don't know what we should do. And Dawn, and I'm like, okay, Max, please, let's just get Cindy and Terry on the phone. And let's figure out what we need to do with, ourselves, the 4 of us, without anybody involved. No managers, no boyfriends, no record company people, no parents, no boyfriends, nobody. Let's just make a decision for ourselves. And so we got them on the phone and we told them, we are not making money. There's something wrong with this picture. Everybody else is fucking rich because of us. And then I was like, okay. And we also saw, Sylvia Rhone had been on the cover of Metropolitan magazine showing her incredible condo on the like 50th floor in New York City, like Manhattan on Park Avenue. Like she had this elacious life. And it's, again, not because we so much gave that to her, but we made it a more of a possibility because of who we are.
100%.
Our success, contributed to that. You can't say it didn't. I'm like, nobody can take that away from En Vogue. And I was like, okay, so when are we getting paid? That was my whole thing. We got on the phone, all 4 of us. We agreed. Cindy said yes. Maxine said yes. Terry said yes. I said yes. That we agreed that we are not going in the studio, any of us going in the studio to sing a motherfucking thing until we're paid. When they renegotiate for better terms and they get us a better contract, a better deal, and we're making more than 2 pennies a record, then we'll go in the studio and sing. That was our leverage.
Right.
That was our third album. Let me see. So no. So we had done Born to Sing, Runaway. I'm sorry.
It was Born to Sing, Funky Divas, Runaway Love. And then EB3 was next.
EB3 was next. Even though it was the fourth album, it was called EB3 at the end, but only because I was out of the group. So, yeah, so before we go in and start EB3 or whatever EB4 is going to be, whatever this album is, this fourth album, we're not going in until they renegotiate for better terms. Then before we knew it, Maxine called me and she said, Dawn, you're not going to believe this. Terry is in the studio. What? What do you mean she's in the studio? So we called her, we called Cindy, and then we called Terry at this. Why are you at the studio? What are you doing? What's going on? Well, you guys, you know, I love you guys, but I don't agree with what you guys want to do as far as Denny and Tommy's concerned. And in other words, she didn't want to go against them. But I'm like, at the time, we had just found out that we were actually free and clear from Denny and Tommy's production deal. So like I said, you got Denny and Tommy, which is Too Tough Enough Productions.
Mm-hmm.
You got Atlantic Records, and then you have En Vogue.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I did that backwards again.
But you were
Denny
able to exit the middleman and go
we
straight
were going
with,
to. We
Right.
found out that we were free and clear, and we could have exited because we were no longer signed to Denny and Tommy. We were free and clear of that deal.
Mm-hmm.
And when we found that out, we were like, oh my God, we're free. And Denny and Tommy panicked because they knew that we knew. So what did they do? The woman that signed us to their production company was Tommy's sister, Tony Granberry. Tony signed us to a production deal with Denny and Tommy, but when they fired her or she quit, I couldn't remember which. Once she was gone, they forgot that we were free and clear. So there was no one there to tell them, hey, Denny and Tommy, you got to re-sign En Vogue because they're free and clear. If you guys don't sign, they're going to be out of a deal with you guys. They're no longer
Right.
signed to Too Tough Enough Productions, and now they have the right to go directly to Atlantic Records.
Mm-hmm.
Or any label for that matter, because we were free and clear. They panicked, and they actually forged, because, again, they had fired Tony or she quit. I don't remember which one. Now that she's gone, they had to forge her signature. And our attorney was like, not only do you guys have a way out of this deal, the fact that Tony Granberry is no longer working for Too Tough Enough Productions, how did she sign this contract?
Sure.
If she's not there anymore, who signed it? They
Right.
forged her signature. So we
Damn.
got a handwriting analysis to come in. This is big, Jason. This is a big deal. And we got a handwriting analysis to come in and tell us that, yeah, the way that she makes her T is different. The way that she makes her Y is different. The way that she does her something else. The way that she does her I at the top of her. They forged her signature, and we were free and clear at that point.
Hold on 1 second. You mentioned that Terry was in the studio. Was she recording Southern Girl, her 1995 solo LP?
Yeah, she was recording that.
Okay.
And that material, come to find out, that was actually going to be the material that was on her album, Southern Gal, was supposed to be our fourth album. And I really didn't like it. I'm not hating, no shade to Terry at all. I loved her single, Wherever You Are. It made me cry every time I heard it because I was like, oh my God, she's not with us anymore. And she cried in the video and I cried with her. It was a beautiful song. But the rest of the album I really didn't love. So I was glad it wasn't our album. However, at this point, now that we find out that we're free and clear from the label, Terry's in the studio recording. She didn't want to come out of the studio. So she stayed in the studio, finished Southern Gal, what became Southern Gal. And now we're sitting on the sidelines, like trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do. Sylvia Rohn put her first single out. She gave her tour support. Maxine, Cindy, and I went to Terry's first show at the Pantages. We supported her. Terry's got all the tour support. And then this is what, 7 months later, the record company came to me and said, hey, Dawn, do you want to do a solo album as well? Now, in hindsight, I see that they were trying to completely annihilate Cindy and Maxine. Keep them broke, keep them hungry. You know, Cindy's okay. Maxine is really the only one.
Yeah.
You know, keep her like, wondering what's going on and confused and scared. And so that when we're ready, we're going to snatch Dawn's album, which is what they did. So Sylvia Rhone came to me, Dawn, do you want to do a solo album too? I took the bait and said yes, because I didn't want to lose my house. By now, the bank was calling. I'm like,
Right.
okay, Terry's on the road. She's not going to be back anytime soon. So hell yeah, I'm going to do this solo album with you guys. And now in hindsight, I know that it was a ploy to, again, keep Maxine and Cindy in the dark. Keep me thinking that they're really serious about my album when they really weren't. It was just a way of divide and conquer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So Sylvia Rhone, the Sylvia Rhone of it all, you know, people always talk about Adina Howard's story with Sylvia Rhone. There's a lot of stories in the business of Sylvia Rhone.
Wow.
Pitting women against each other and ending careers of women, but that's a whole different story.
That's a shame. That's really sad. It's so sad, Jason. Really
It is. But you left the group. Here we got in the spring of '97. We had En Vogue on some soundtracks. Why Do Fools Fall in Love?
I'm listening. Keep talking.
EV3 comes out. You do the vocals for the album. The Babyface produced whatever. Your vocals are still there in that song.
Now you can see me.
Oh, let there be light. Dawn,
let there be freaking light.
The dawn of light. But your vocals are still on that album.
Yes.
Even though you have said "Hasta la vista, baby," and then what happened after that? Because we heard you on the Dr. Dolittle soundtrack with Rocksteady.
Yeah.
We heard you on Firm Biz which is you hype made sure that you were killing it in that video, because it was.
Thank you.
It was nice to see the star that you were, sans the girls, and you being able to be like, okay, Dawn has arrived. And I mean, from the fit to the choreography to everything, good for you. Firm Biz was a moment.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Where did you go after that? And leaving the group, what did that do to you emotionally?
Oh, emotionally, I didn't want to leave the group. They pushed me out. It was their idea to do that because Dawn is talking too much. Dawn is telling the girls, let's renegotiate. So, okay, so like I was saying, Sylvia put me in the studio. Yes, I'll take the deal. I'll do a solo album with you. And then maybe 3 songs in, Sylvia comes to me and says, and this was about maybe 2 months later. I had done a bunch of music, but only within a 2-month span. And she came to me and said, well, Dawn, Terry's coming off the road right now. We're going to go back in and get that En Vogue album. So we're going to scrap your album right now. And I was like, huh? No, because you took Terry's album seriously. You're going to take my album seriously too. So this is what I want you to do for me, Sylvia. I'm going to stay in En Vogue. I'm not going to leave. I'm not mad at the group at all. I'm grateful to be a part of something so iconic. However, you played games with my life. You played games with my solo album. You took Terry's album, and I'm sorry, it's whack, but you took her album seriously. And you didn't take my album. Now I have a song called Healing. And that was the first song that I recorded with Sylvia. And I am hitting Minnie Riperton notes. I'm going in vocally. I really am proud of that song. And Sylvia heard that and she was like, oh my God, let me give you a little more money to continue the process of recording. And then she came to me, like I said, I had 3 songs done. Healing was the first and then 2 other songs. She was like, nope, we're going to scrap your album. We're going to go back in because she said the record company was on her back. She said, I have higher ups. And they are like, okay, where's that En Vogue revenue? Where's that money, that En Vogue money? So Terry's album wasn't doing well, and I guess they just got scared, and they were like, okay, pull Dawn, pull Terry, get them back in the studio, let's get some more money. Right. And I said, no, you won't. I said, okay, you can do the En Vogue album, and I'm going to stay in the group, but I want you to let me go as a solo artist. I want, and she said, that's fine, but I want 2, let me see, how did it go? I want 2 points on your first album, 2 points on your second, 5 points on the first album, 5 points on the second album, 4 points on the third album, 3 points on the fourth. Yeah, she was like trying to get as much out of me as possible. And I was like, that's fine if that's what you think you need to do, but I'm going to be solo. I'm going to leave as a solo artist, but I'm staying in the group. The group is my priority. And because I did that, I slighted her. Yeah. Sylvia Rhone did not like it one bit. She couldn't stand the fact that I outsmarted her. Because she had to let me go in all intents. As a solo artist, she had to let me go. But like I said to her, so let's fast forward maybe 5 months after that. we were in the studio recording. So we had recorded Dawn, slow down. We had recorded Don't Let Go.
Mm-hmm.
And the producer of Don't Let Go came to me and said, Dawn, I have to tell you the truth. This is what's happening. Sylvia does not want you in the group anymore. She doesn't want you to sing lead on this song. She really doesn't want you to sing on this song at all.
And this was the producer was Rico Wade, yes?
Ivan
Matias? Okay, cool.
Exactly, yeah. Him and I just had a conversation last night about this whole thing. So he gave me some more insight, and I gave him some insight as well, because Ivan was hearing certain things about what I was doing and why, and he was like, I don't care what you guys think Dawn is doing. She's the best one on the song. Vocally, she can sing lead on this thing, and I'm not willing to pull her off. And he was like, so Dawn, I'm telling you what they're trying to do, but when the girls get in the studio today, because I couldn't breathe when he told me that. You mean to tell me that you're informing me right now that the group that they want me out of the group, that Sylvia Rome wants to kick me out of En Vogue? Are you telling me that right now? Mm-hmm. And he said, yes, honey, and don't say that it came from me. And I was like, okay, but Ivan, he said, just trust me on this. When the girls get here today and they try to sing lead, they try to take your leads off and try to sing your parts, just see what happens with that. Let's just see. And they got there, and I had to act like Jason. When they walked in the door, I was like, hey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I had to act like everything's good. Everything's still okay. Hey, Terry. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Maxine. Right. But it wasn't.
Yeah, sure.
You bitches are trying to kick me the fuck out of this group, and I have to act like everything's good today. Everything's okay. Everything's fine. Hey, what's going on, y'all? But it really wasn't. So Cindy got in the studio first, and she's like, I'm not as soulful as Dawn. I can't sing like Dawn. You know, because she's nasal. Her voice is very nasal. And he said, no, just try it. Just try it, because Sylvia wants you to do it. So she tried to sing the first verse, and she couldn't do it. Terry went in there and couldn't do it. Maxine went in there and could not do it. So that's why I stayed on the lead on those parts, because he was like, he really fought for me. He said that he told them I could put them on the lead and it would be good, but with Dawn, it's great. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to put words in his mouth or whatever, but it was just clear that they tried to do it. He had them on there and it didn't work. And
look, even in the iteration, the only version that we, your fans, and the public have heard, just if you have a musical ear, imagining what that would sound like with Cindy on lead or Terry, knowing the different textures of your voice. That song was from a movie that spoke about female empowerment and urgency.
Yeah.
And not letting go of love, right?
Exactly.
So the voice has to speak to that as well.
Exactly. Very good, Jason. Oh my God. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I don't think anybody else could have sung that song. I don't know why. I feel it like when I was in the studio, even listening. So Andrea Martin and Ivan wrote it together.
Yeah. And
when Andrea she had done the reference vocals for us. That's why we liked the song in the first place, because she sung the lead just to let us, what they call a reference vocal, just so we could hear the melody of the song, the inflections and how things went and how she sang it. She couldn't do a whole lot on it because you don't want to be a reference vocalist and give too much. So when I got a hold of it, it just became mine. I can't explain that. But from the beginning, it just felt like it was a rock ballad. First of all, I am a rock star. Like, I'm a rock and roll chick. I just am. So when I heard it, I was like, this is so genius for us. This is like a rock ballad for En Vogue. Like, I just think that it's a great song. And so when I sang it, I felt it. I felt the lyrics with the music. I can't explain that. It's just a weird thing inside my body. I felt it. It just went together to me. It made sense.
Don, real quick, hold on 1 second. I want to say what's up to everyone commenting below. Shout out to Morgan McMichael and everyone who is watching. They're celebrating you. You have some die-hard fans who've been waiting a long time to hear you tell your side of the story. So continue.
Even if it is, Maxine, be an adult and settle your differences privately. That's what adults do. I try to do that, Randy. I don't know if he's talking about me or not. How do you think that why do you assume that we didn't try to settle it as adults? I've tried to talk to them many, many times. So anyway, let me stop. I'm sorry, Jason. Let's continue what we were talking about. People assume that they know so much. Well,
that's why you're here, to set the record straight.
I try. So, so when they tried their parts, they didn't work for the lead. for the vote for the, and even what's it gonna be? Because I can't pretend. Don't you want to be more than friends? So hold me tight and don't let go. They come in on don't let go.
Yeah.
You have the right to lose control. Don't. So I sing all of that until those parts. They come in on don't let go. So I sing predominantly all of that, and then they had their parts in there running in over life. That's Maxine.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cindy has her part. Can't keep running in and out of life, out of life. All of that. And then Terry comes in. Oh no, don't you want to be more than? So they wrote that part for her at the end. Now it's solidified, I guess, me as the lead singer of that song, and that happens to be our biggest hit.
Yeah.
So, and this is my thing, Jason. I kept feeling like we deserve this. Everybody else around us have been making money hand over fist, and this is the thing too. Terry did not like "Don't Let Go" when she first heard it. She didn't like the song. She thought it was terrible. She's like, it's all right, because it wasn't Denny and Tommy. If we didn't force the issue and make her go in the studio and sing that song and do that song with us, we wouldn't have had it as a hit. Yeah. Our biggest hit, because she was hating on the song so much. And I'm like, okay. And that's what my thing over the years, I've always told them, our biggest hit didn't even come from Denny and Tommy. And you guys are so busy having Denny and Tommy's backs, but Denny and Tommy didn't have our backs. Mm-hmm. They didn't, I've never seen, I guess I've said over the years, it's likened to a prostitute and a pimp. Mm-hmm. A prostitute does all the work all day long, and then she goes home and gives her money to the pimp. It's like that's how their mindset is, like Denny and Tommy. Yeah, but Denny and Tommy are not En Vogue. Denny and Tommy are protecting themselves, as I said, but they're not protecting En Vogue. So what is this whole
why is there a loyalty to them? Why is there an allegiance to them?
A dying loyalty. It's dire. Like, oh my God, Denny and Tommy this, Denny and Tommy that. If you go back and look at our interviews, it's Denny and Tommy, Denzel Foster, Thomas McGarry. It was always about them, never about us or about our families or the people that helped us get to where we are. It wasn't just Denny and Tommy. It was David. It was Sheila Eldridge. It was all of these other people that helped us get to where we were.
Done. Instagram's going to kick us off. We're going to do a part 2. I'm going to post this. Guys watching, come back for part 2 because we have more with Don Robinson, and we're gonna go there, guys. So stick around. We'll be back in just a sec. Don, hang out.
Don, go back down and come right back in?
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna put this up.
5 minutes or 4 minutes?
No, give me like 2 minutes, and then I'll come back in. You said a request. We'll continue going.
Yes, Jason.
Okay. I'll be back. Bye.